This video is explaining how to use the program Exit Ticket as a formative assessment tool in your classroom. The first step in using Exit Ticket is to create a teacher account. You're going to go to the website www.exitticket.org. Once this website loads, you're going to click on Get Your Free Teacher Plan Now. This page will let you create your username and unique password. Once you've typed in all of your information, go ahead and click Create Account. The next page lets you link with an organization. So for us, we're going to type in Maquoketa Valley, and it gives you the option of either the middle school or the high school, and you click on Link School. The next step is to edit the courses and class periods. When you sign up for Exit Ticket, it has 4 courses already in the system for you. So we need to edit those so they fit what you teach. So click on the course and term editor in the middle of the page. The next page has you click on Edit School Term Courses and Classes linked to Maquoketa Valley. And then it brings you to this page where it has the predetermined courses already in there. You just click on Edit in order to change those so it fits your classes. The class name is specific class periods. The course name would be more of an overview. So for example, I would have language arts as my course name and then period 1 as my class name. It does allow you options to select the subject and select the grade level, and then just click Save. The next option that Exit Ticket gives you is to make a class inactive, and what this does is then that class won't show up on your home screen. In order to get back to home, in the upper left-hand corner, there's a big ET. You click on that and that will bring you to your home screen. Now you can see the changes that I've made on my screen. The next step in the process is to create an assessment that you can then give to your students. There are 4 different types of assessments in Exit Ticket. The first one is called a Quicket. This is a quick 1-question poll. The other 3 are all very similar. You have Launch, Practice, and Exit. These are all a maximum of 10 question assessments, and you have the option of multiple choice, true, false, or free response question options. 2 of them allow you to record the scores in the gradebook in Exit Ticket, whereas the Practice does not record the score in the gradebook. To start a new assessment, you click on the big plus that says New Assessment next to it, and then you're going to click on the type of assessment that you want to choose from that drop-down menu. It brings up a separate editor that says Launch Editor because this is a launch assessment. The title is what you want to call the type of assessment, and then you have other options there. The other options there involve setting if you want to time the questions, whether you want to reveal the correct answer, whether you want to show the results page, and whether you want to randomize the order of the questions. One of the most important parts of creating this assessment is the publishing date. If your publishing date isn't set correctly, then the students won't be able to complete the assessment. You can set a range of the date so it can show up on numerous days if you're not sure you're going to get to it in your class. The next thing you're going to do is decide which class you want this assessment to apply to. The nice thing about Exit Ticket is that you can create one assessment and assign it to numerous class periods. Next, click on the Question tab in the upper left-hand corner of the editor, and then from the Add Questions drop-down menu, choose what type of question you want to add. The description tag is basically just for you, so you know what type of question you're answering. You actually type the question in the editing box lower in the editing tool page. Below that, you get to type in, if it's multiple choice, you get to type in the options for your multiple choice, and then you also have to select which one is the correct answer. When you move on to adding a second question, there are other options that you can choose. One is to just add another question, and you do that the same way you added the first question. In this case, you would have to retype in all of your options for your multiple choice. The other option is to duplicate a question. By doing this, you will save yourself time on having to retype in those multiple choice options. To duplicate the question, you click on that middle button that if you hold your cursor over, it will say duplicate. Then all you'll have to do is change the question and then mark the correct answer down below. When you finish typing in all the questions for your assessment, you just click on the Save and Close button. The next step is to how to add students. First time you add students, it's going to be a little different than the second time. So what you do is you click on Today's Assessment, and then it will show the assessment that you have planned for that day. In the upper right hand corner, there's a tab that says Add Students, and it will give you a class code, and it shows you what the students need to do in order to get signed up. Next step in this process is how to start an assessment. When you're on your home page, you click on Today's Assessment under the class that you are working with, and then click Start on the actual assessment. It brings you up with this screen. When I connect it to the projector, I make sure that it is in projector mode because then it doesn't show students' names, but it will give you real-time feedback on how the students are doing. I'm also going to show you how it looks on a student's computer and how they get logged in. So you can see if you go to exitticket.com, there's an option for them to log in or to enter a class code. Again, this is where you would show the class code up on the projector, and the students would then type it into that spot where it says class code and click Go. From there, then they're either logging in with an existing account or creating a new account. For a username, I had my students use their first name, last name, no spaces, all lowercase, just like their school email address, so it would be easier to remember. Then they would click on Continue, and then they would need to enter a password that they would need to remember. Once they have their password entered, they hit Continue. It will ask for a student ID number, and I just had the students skip over that, and then it asks for their first name, last name. The names that they type in here is what's going to show up on your teacher account for their results. Now that the students have an account, you have them start an assessment. This is the screen that will show up on the student's account, and they just need to click on Launch because the assessment that you have set for that day is what's going to show up on their screen. Again, they're just selecting the correct answer and then hitting Next. I have it set up where it will show them the correct answer or if it's incorrect, and that's what those screens look like there. When a student is finished with an assessment, it will give them an overall score. The last section of this tutorial are all the different options that teachers have during the assessments and after the assessments. This is what your projector screen will look like as students are taking their assessments. So it shows real-time feedback on each individual question while the students are taking the assessment. This first set of options is when you're still in projector mode. If you click on Score, it will separate the students by their score. If you go to Lightning Fast, it will separate them by how quickly each student took the test. While you're still in projector mode, if you click on Reteach, then it will show each individual question and show you the percentage of how many students answered for which answer. This is what I used to talk through each question with my students, and we talked about why the correct answer was what it was. If you switch back to teacher mode, there are a lot more options for you. The first option you have is to export scores, and this would export them into a spreadsheet. Earlier when we were in projector mode, it showed the scores and the time. It's similar in here where it separates them by percentages and time, but this time you can actually see their names. Another option is to click on Intervention Hot List, and this will list the students that really struggled that you need to focus on. And the next one is Superstars, so those students who did extremely well on your assessment. Earlier when we were in projector mode, we went to reteach and it showed the question and the percentage that students answered. This one will actually give you the students' names under which answer they selected for each question. Up at the top next to reteach is an option called rubric grading. This will give you the students' names and their specific answers for each question, so it's just a little more condensed than the reteaching. The next part is the student admin. This is where you are allowed to change a student's password. If a student forgets a password, you have the option of resetting their password to get them back in. The last set of options on your home page is to click on Performance, and you can add widgets that give you a visual overview of how your students are doing. To start with, you're going to have to add the widgets that you would like. The options for this are Performance, Interveners, Biggest Growers, and Overall Student Proficiency. If you just click on the Add button, then it will add it to that screen. Once you click Close, then those widgets show up in that page. If you decide that you don't want a widget, you just click on that little gearbox and it gives you different options, and one of them is to remove it. Hopefully this tutorial on how to use Exit Ticket as a formative assessment tool has been helpful for you.